And we're live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic edition of The Lap Down. I am your host, Greg Farmer, and with me tonight is Tyler, Jayme, and Ryan. How are we doing, boys?
Not too
Doing
bad, not too bad.
Doing pretty good.
Awesome, awesome. Um, Before we get started, I just want to say a quick shout out to Will and the Alkali Project for the intro and outro music on the show. Uh, Again, please be sure to check out their music wherever you get your music, Spotify, iHeart, wherever it is. But we are going to jump right into it because we got a lot to cover. First things first, right off the press yesterday, Dodge is back. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, and they made it official yesterday. Ram announced the return of the Hemi V8 in 2026, as well as their return to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Now, as of right now, no drivers or teams have been announced just yet, but I know we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks, but I'd love to get your guys' thoughts now that it's official, starting with Tylor.
I personally think it's a great idea, honestly, because especially since the truck field's a little bit smaller, a lot more teams will be willing to put more money into Dodge and stuff like that. And bringing them back into a slower series would gain interest and gain traction to possibly teams in the future for the Xfinity and Cup series.
All right. What about you, Jayme?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a good sign to get Dodge back into at least trucks. I mean, let's be real. Like the Dodge Ram has always been one of my favorite trucks, just in general. Not even just in NASCAR. I've always liked how the trucks always came out, and some good young stars have won some races in some Dodges. I believe Ryan Blaney is probably the most recent latest. Is probably the youngest star that won a truck series race in the Dodge.
With Dodge. Brad Keselowski, too. Well, he's Cup, but yeah.
Brad Keselowski has a Cup championship with Dodge.
Same with no, yeah. I believe Keselowski has the most recent championship for any Dodge. I believe.
Well, yeah, because they were out of the Cup Series shortly, literally the year after he won the championship.
Yep, that is true. Ryan, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see which teams end up switching to Dodge. I think Tylor and I, we were kind of, before we went live, we were kind of chatting out, talking about which teams could possibly swap, and I think we both agreed that it feels like ThorSport's in probably about the perfect spot for both what Dodge is going to be looking for and providing plenty of young talent. I mean, you have championship caliber drivers. You've got young guys like Luke Fenhouse in and around that organization, along with proven champions like Ben Rhodes.
And
so I think that's the best balance for the first team. And I think they'll want to probably pad their numbers with a second team, but I think there's a good chance to see some of the like Rackley Wars, the single truck teams going out there.
I was thinking like Nice or something like that.
Yeah, I think Nice might be a team that they might chase if they don't land the ThorSport, but ThorSport already I think has 5 full-time trucks, which would be close. Which if you land ThorSport and then the 3 Nice trucks, that's a lot of trucks.
That is a lot of trucks. That actually gets their quota because didn't they say they wanted 4 to 6 for Daytona?
Yeah, which that would put them at 7.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys kind of, talked about the teams and stuff. Like, what potential drivers would you want to see? I know heavily rumored Cletus McFarland's name's been thrown around a lot. But what do you guys think?
I can definitely see somebody like Ben Rhodes. Definitely, I could for sure see like Ben Rhodes. Even maybe like Ty Majeski or something like that.
Well, and again, both of those are ThorSport drivers, so I mean,
Ty Majeski, I could see like Christian Eckes, or not Christian Eckes. Yeah, Christian Eckes. Now Christian Eckes will stay with Toyota.
He's not with Toyota now. He's with Chevy right now, isn't he?
Or no, it was the other one. Oh,
Corey
I
Heim.
don't know. Oh, Corey Heim. Corey Heim staying with Toyota.
Yeah, Corey Heim's gonna stick with Toyota. Unless someone comes with a big bag of cash, because I think he's only one step. I think he just needs one opening, and he'll be in Cup.
I was thinking this is a shot in the dark. What about Tony Ballard, where the hell her name is?
Tony Bellinger. Well, again, the biggest thing is you'd have to get a car for her to race first.
Right.
Because right now she's with a Toyota team, and she's been brought up through the Toyota.
I had that idea, or they bring back Haley Deegan with Dodge.
Yeah, again, I could see it, but you'd have to figure out
Right.
what team she would go to.
Right. Then they also rumored
because that's the big thing is I don't see Dodge starting like a Dodge factory team the way that Toyota
Right.
has Tri-Con Garage.
Right.
At least not in year one. Maybe a couple years down the line, then Dodge opens up their own flagship truck program, but
Yeah. Well, speaking of Corey Heim and Toyota, that brings us into actually our next topic. Some lawsuit news that come out last week and over the weekend. The 3-judge panel threw out the injunction that 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports filed a few months ago, basically saying that they don't have a leg to stand on as far as being chartered teams, and they have no case. The teams have 14 days to respond, or they will be forced to run as open teams. And that also it opens the door for drivers like Tylor Reddick, Bubba Wallace, and the Front Row guys to maybe sign to other teams mid-season, which I honestly don't see happening because everybody's kind of full at this moment. But the trial date is still set for December 1st. But starting with Tylor, do you guys think that these two teams will be open teams, or do you think they'll still run under the charter?
How I feel about it, it could go either way, honestly. That's how I feel about it. That's really all I have about it. Yeah, go ahead. Either Jayme or
what about you, Jayme?
I feel like there's too much of a financial loss to run as open team. And when it comes, especially when you're talking about sponsorships and the caliber of drivers that you have already, it would be a very dumb and potentially bankrupting decision to not get your act together and run as a charter and agree to NASCAR's terms.
yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that could come from this, and this is what I was talking with Tylor when you guys were joining on in as well, is I think there's actually a big opportunity for Chevy to potentially, if Chevy wants to work with NASCAR to try and help NASCAR's case, potentially try and get work together with your three biggest Chevy teams of Trackhouse, Hendrick, and RCR, try and put together enough competent Chevys to start potentially bumping out some of the front row or some of the 2311 cars. Because could you imagine the drama if Bubba Wallace or Tylor Reddick were to miss a race due to qualifications? Reddick would have to be a really bad day for Reddick, but for Bubba or certainly Riley Herbst, I could see one of those two missing out if you bring extra Chevys to the track, like bring the 33 for Jesse Love, the 87 with Zilich, the
25,
the 62 with either Anthony Alfredo or Austin Hill. I mean, that's three cars right there and gets you close to that quota already.
And then you can bring the 13 car. You can bring the 13 for Colleague too as well.
Yeah, Colleague could bring the 13 back, and you could fill. I don't know who you'd fill that 91. Seat with.
I mean,
Yeah, well, I
it's a
think
stretch.
Trackhouse is limited to 4 total cars, so they can't do Project 91 at the same time as the Connor Silich car.
And not to mention, like, if we have another Daytona incident where if another driver comes in based on like the agreements and everything, with was it? It wasn't Castro Neves, was it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
it was.
Helio.
Yeah,
Yeah, Castro Neves came in for Trackhouse because there was no Connor Silich in that race.
yeah. But I mean, even then, like if
Later.
another team was to do something like that and have it set out to where they were planning on joining a race like I don't know, maybe the summer Daytona race or
Yeah.
maybe one of these road courses, that could also throw a wrench uh, into the qualifying trends that you were talking about.
Yeah, and again, I think this would be the perfect opportunity for Chevy to try and stack the field against, because the two teams involved in the lawsuit are a Toyota and a Chevy team. So
Lay down.
stack the field with Toyota and a Ford team. I mean, so if Chevy can stack
Lay
the
down.
field against them, it would be the perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah, and also, don't forget too, I mean, I know it doesn't happen quite often, but what if we come to a race like Daytona, the regular season finale, and both these teams are running as open teams and we have more than 40 cars that show up? And let's say you have Bubba Wallace and Noah Gragson vying for the final spot in the playoffs, and
And one of
then
them gets bumped out.
and one of them gets bumped out and they don't even get to race, they have to pack up and go home. That
Yeah, and
that
especially
that
if
would
it's a
be
team on
unprecedented.
item.
If
Yeah.
I was Bubba Wallace or if I was Tyler Reddick and 2311 made the stand to not be a charter team and run as an open team, I'm sorry, MJ. I'm sorry, Dennis the Menace, but I'm finding me a team that is going to be able to accommodate me so that way I know that my playoff hopes are secure.
But what team right now, realistically, what charter team could they go to? Because all 36 charters are basically accounted for with a full-time driver this year, unlike in previous years where, like, Colleague had a rotational car the last couple of years, or Rick Ware usually has a rotation.
So
All
you
36
can't tell me
charters
that
don't.
Rick Ware wouldn't get rid of Todd Gilliland for Tyler Reddick.
Huh?
You mean
Rick Ware currently only has the Cody Ware car. It's the only Rick Ware
Or
car.
not Rick Ware. But
Bob,
you know what I'm talking about.
Well,
Bob
you named a
Jenkins?
front row motorsports driver who's currently non-chartered as well. Because Front Row Motorsports is the other team in this, because Todd Gillen's the Front Row Motorsports driver, and you named Reddick a.
Who's McDowell's teammate?
That would be that's the host of our Haley team, which Haley
It's
maybe
Spire.
could get bumped out for a Bubba Wallace or Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
But
I could see Haley getting bumped for one of those guys.
yeah, I could see that maybe, but
Imagine
again, if you
how
do that,
fast.
you absolutely burn your bridges at Toyota, though, and the odds of being able to just return to Toyota next year would be next to none.
Ooh, yeah, that is.
And I don't know if I would say a Spire car is an improvement over a Toyota team, because if you leave mid-season and then they ultimately prevail in the lawsuit, then that team that you left has a charter again and would be a more competitive option, but you left them for the uncertainty mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that would just be my 2 cents. I think that that's a massive risk, yeah, especially depending on where they think they sit with the lawsuit. If they think that the lawsuit's going to end up falling through where they would lose their charters permanently, then yeah, I think they could look elsewhere. But
Yeah, but I mean, I think that they'll respond and get something going, because right now they have until June the 26th, which is right before the Atlanta race, to either stay as chartered teams or run as open teams. But we're going to go into our next off-track topic. On last week's episode of Holler Talk, which is the new NASCAR podcast from Mike Ford and all them, Mike Ford says that after speaking to Elton Sawyer and Steve O'Donnell and Steve Phelps, 750 horsepower is on the table, and we could see it as early as this year on the remaining short track races. And I would love to get your guys' thoughts. If this happens, is it a step in the right direction? Tyler.
I personally think it. I was actually talking with this with Ryan earlier. It's like a couple different things. But I do think it's a step in the right direction. But I also think that if they do bring up the horsepower, they should really mess with the gearing, because a lot of it is like throttle response, and they're not getting as much throttle response right now, especially on short tracks where and plus with all the dirty air, it's hard to pass when they're pretty much going the same speed.
Well, yeah, and the problem, if they do overstep, they can just drop it down an extra gear and get more drive off.
Mm-hmm. I think they should take. I also go ahead. Go ahead, Greg.
No, you go ahead. You were already talking.
So my personal opinion on short tracks, I think they should completely take out fifth gear on short tracks, and just because give it more of a chance. Like if you step out, you actually have to fight the car.
Yep. Which should always be the case. They should have never gone to a 5-speed transmission in the first place. Up until the last 2 or 3 years, like I've said before, I've never heard of shifting on short tracks unless they were dropping down to like third gear. But even then, they were still fighting the cars.
They did occasionally, especially like at Martinsville and stuff like that. They would, especially later in a run when the tires are getting bad, they would chip down into the third just to keep apex speed.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Jayme?
I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm no mechanic by any means.
Yep.
I don't just saying that they're gonna add horsepower. It sounds like a cool thing, but I don't know if that fixes the issue though, because of the way the car's built with the dirty air and all the issues that we have already. Horsepower is not going to fix that. No, it's just another thing to add to a bad defect of these new age cars, where you can't pass if you're behind somebody. So I don't know. I can't say it's a step in the right direction. I can't say it's a step in the wrong direction. It's just, I feel like it's just like just another Lego piece to a sculpture that is already teetering.
Yeah. If they're going to change the horsepower, I honestly think that they need to do some revisions to the bodies of the cars, especially that diffuser and the underbody. I think that would help a lot as far as, taking away dirty air. I know the diffuser plays a real big part in that. And as we've all seen, that underbody acts like the freaking wing of an airplane on the bigger tracks. And last year was the year of just random flips at random tracks, like LaJoy upside down.
Tracks.
Yeah, LaJoy upside down at Michigan all of a sudden, and
Daytona had two near.
The summer race, Josh Berry did get upside down. I was there.
Yeah,
I know Josh Berry. I was
over in that same
that's
race.
What I was referring to. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the race where they put that second shark fin on the back of the cars too. But yeah, I called it the year of the blowover.
Yep.
But Ryan, what were your thoughts on potentially more horsepower?
I mean, at this point, it feels like the one thing that they can still do to try and revamp this next gen car, because it feels like they've tried messing with almost everything else aside from a complete redesign of the car. I think really adding the horsepower in is one of those kind of last few things you can really do to try and, because like the biggest things is like, okay, yeah, the wire tires making too much grip. Yeah, you can't change that overnight. That would take a pretty much complete redesign of the race car. Same thing with the with some of the stuff, like trying to figure out how to make the diffuser work. 'Cause I don't think I would be shocked if you could just take the diffuser off and not have major problems with the car. Like, that's the argument I always hear is people just say, "Oh, you just take off the diffuser." And as someone who is certifiably not a mechanic, I don't know how easy or hard or what the consequence on driving the car if you just straight up took the diffuser off.
Can I add on to that real quick, Greg, before you speak?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Sure.
So with the diffuser, it's all part of that underbody. It's all that whole underbody is one piece, including the diffuser. You cannot if you take off the diffuser, you're taking off the entire underbody.
Yeah, so, and again, that's where it comes down to the fact where I would start to imagine that would take some pretty serious reworking of the entire car to just get rid of the diffuser. And hey, who knows? Maybe a complete redesign is what's necessary, but especially for the next gen car, I mean, a generation lasts what? Usually about 10 years.
7 to 10 years.
So, and we're in what, the fourth year of the next gen? Third year of the next gen?
Yeah, the Gen 6 went
Fourth-
from
fourth
2013
year.
to 20.
Yeah, we're in our fourth year, so we're stuck with this car probably for 3 more years. So I think I'll accept adding in horsepower at least as a thing that they're trying. I don't think they should be getting rid of the option tires because I think those have helped.
Those have helped, yeah.
But it sounds like they have canned that plan, so who knows?
Go ahead, Greg.
I think if they increase the horsepower on the short tracks, took away the underbody and the diffuser, and brought in the absolute softest tires that they could absolutely run, we would have fantastic short track racing again.
Well, the problem there is if you if everybody's on the same softer tires, I don't know that necessarily fixes the problem. Like, that's the thing with the option tires that has really worked is the fact that you have drivers picking different times in the race to utilize the sets of option tires. Yeah, so you've got some people on softer tires, some people on harder tires, and that creates some of that really cool passing opportunities. Yeah, it's semi-artificial, but honestly, find one thing in NASCAR that is completely organic, and you'd be pretty hard-pressed to find something.
Yeah, but think about it this way, too. You have a lot of drivers that grew up racing short tracks like late models and stuff like that where they can't change tires during the race, so they have to maintain and take care of their tires. If they have increased horsepower, that means they'll be running faster down the straightaways. They'd have to adjust their braking zones, and you kind of put it back into the driver's hands on maintaining your equipment and your tires to be able to have the best run and be there at the end.
Yeah, I agree there, but I also think that because the softer the tires are, the better the grip and the harder it'll be for them to overdrive or make a mistake. That's ultimately where you get your passing from on a lot of short tracks is one driver overdriving the corner and making a little bit of a mistake almost. Yeah, or missing the grip in his tires. So the softer and more grippy the tires are, the shorter they'll last, sure, but also the harder it'll be to overdrive the corner. So I'd actually almost say, I'd like to see what a NASCAR short track would look like at, say, Richmond later this year or something, if they brought the absolute hardest tire they could possibly make.
That tire would literally last the entire freaking race.
Yeah, but I mean, but again, if it's low grip, that's one of those things where it's like a little less grip in the track, causing more mistakes. So that's again one of those things where it's like there aren't very many mistakes on short tracks these days.
I honestly would love to see them bring the horsepower up and a softer tire at Bristol for the night race and see what happens there.
Can I add something, Greg?
Sure.
And also don't make a temperature sensitive tire like what they did at Bristol's last year.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, right? Bristol temperatures are all over the place
with it being concrete and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think last year's race was a fluke thing that we probably won't see again for a while.
Yeah, we said that after last year's night race, and we saw the exact same thing this spring, where Kyle Larson absolutely whopped the field. We saw that in the night race, and we are like, "Wow, we haven't seen something like that for years. We probably
Yeah.
won't see it again for a while." Oh, it happened again in the spring. He completely crushed the field almost harder than he did in the fall race. Well, I guess we probably won't see that again for a while.
And somewhere out there, there's a 35-year-old guy who's like, huh, Kyle Larson did what I did on NASCAR Heat 5 on easy mode.
Are we talking about Nick? Are we talking about Nick Hearsey?
Possibly. I'm not naming any names.
I love that guy.
All right. Well, we are going to move into our recap segment. They had the truck race on Saturday. Stuart Friesen picked up his first win of the season in a race that saw a lot of crashes, especially towards the end of the race, and 3 overtime attempts. And at one point, Corey LaJoie in that Spire truck was in position to win the race. But I would love to get, starting with Tylor, your thoughts on the truck race on Saturday.
I caught the tail ending, and I was cheering my ass off for Stuart Friesen, because I personally know Stuart Friesen through my dad. My dad used to dirt race with him back in the early 2000s. But I thought Corey LaJoie, I was not expecting Corey LaJoie to be up front like he was. I was expecting him to be more mid-pack, but I will give him kudos for running pretty good. I really caught the end of it. And kudos to Stuart Friesen.
Yeah. I mean, the big story that came out of the truck race was that big old pileup they had on that one restart there towards the end.
That's where I tuned in.
It took out probably about 15 trucks. But Jayme, did you catch any of the truck race on Saturday?
Yeah, I caught some of it. I was really rooting for Corey LaJoie. I'm a fan of his podcast, Stacking Pennies, and there's a lot of neat stuff that he talks about on a day-to-day basis. And so just becoming a fan of his podcast and always just liking his personality. Whenever he's racing, I always subconsciously root for him. So I was really pulling for him. Kind of bummed he didn't get it, but if anyone's going to win, it might as well be someone who hasn't won in a long time. And Tylor, if you got connections to him, you need to get him on this podcast, bub. You're failing.
I haven't gotten any message. I tried last year, but I haven't gotten any message. But
that was last year.
Well, now that he's won, maybe he'll be in a better mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be pretty cool to have Stuart Friesen. He's a cool dude.
How it's going when they're losing, but now that he's got a win, maybe a win.
Tylor, you need to take one for the team and make it to where he can't say no. I don't care what you gotta do.
I mean, hey,
okay.
I got a live autograph from Kyle Busch on live stream earlier this week, or earlier this month, I mean.
I don't think he'll remember me, but I know because the last time I talked to him was like 15 years ago, but like in person. So I don't think he'll remember me much, but I do personally know him.
Get your dad to talk to him.
I kind of can't, unfortunately. My dad's not alive anymore.
What you're saying is,
I'm sorry.
He doesn't know you, but you know him.
I know him, but I don't think he fully knows me because he knew my dad more.
Okay, because if you were to said yes to mine, I'd been like, well, guess what? I know Stuart Friesen too.
I know. Yeah, my dad and him were on the same dirt racing team back in the early 2000s.
Nice. Ryan, what were your thoughts on the truck race?
I only got to see literally the final restart from it, so it was a pretty cool final restart. Glad to see Stuart Friesen get revenge for Atlanta earlier this year when he lost in that shootout to Kyle Busch. And actually, it ended up coming down to a very similar overtime restart. Neither of the cars on the front row got a really good push on that final restart. So you actually had a very similar finish to what we saw in Atlanta last year. So
Mhm.
it was a pretty cool finish, though.
Yeah.
Because the race
Yeah.
started at noon and I worked till 2, I didn't get to see much of it.
I was working
Yeah.
on Friday as well, so I didn't get a chance to see it. Or Saturday, I was working. I didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah, I was out myself and listened to it on the radio. But yesterday they had the Cup Series race. Fantastic race for
It was a great
Michigan.
race, yes, it was.
Denny Hamlin beat all of our favorite drivers again.
That
Once
was a good
again,
race, though.
once again for the second two out of the last 3 races, William Byron dominates and gets past late for the win. Carson
And ran out
Hocevar
of gas.
Carson Hocevar was also in contention to win. He was leading with about 20 to go, but he could not make it on fuel and had a left rear tire that went down late in the race. But one of the big stories coming out of Michigan was the crash that Alex Bowman had in turn 1 on a restart. He was in the mid to back of the pack, and a couple of cars made contact in front of him. He got clipped and got sent head on into the outside wall at about 180 miles an hour. And I will be quite honest, until they put the camera on his car, I didn't know if the window net was down or not. That was one of the hardest hits I've seen in a while.
That's one of the hardest hits in the next gen I've seen.
Yeah.
Besides Ryan Blaney's in the 23 Coke 0400.
Yeah. But he did get out of the car under his own power and went to the care center and was released. But my big question coming out of Michigan, this is the 8th out of the last 10 races that Alex Bowman has finished 27th or worse. Is it time to hit the panic button? Tylor.
I think, actually, as much as I hate to say we said the same thing at the same point last year, because he was at the same. He was similar last year, like where he had a stretch in early beginning of the summer where he was like 10 races in a row he was finishing 25th or worse.
I don't think it was that bad. I thought it was just.
Or no, I think it was a couple years. I think it was a couple years ago. I think.
Yeah,
I know
right
for
after his back injury, when he was fresh off his back injury from the sprint car crash.
I don't think. I mean, we're getting there. I think the hand's over the button. I don't think it's quite panic time. If it maybe like 3 or 4 more races and he does this, I think it's time to start panicking.
Well, let me say this.
I think goes back to the. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, in the last 9 races, he's gone from 5th to 13th in the point standings, and he is only like 20 points above the cutoff line right now.
Yeah, because my reasoning for why I would say it is time for him to hit the panic button on that is primarily because I think when it comes to because we think back to the last time he had an injury, when he had that back injury that in the sprint car crash. Even after he finally returned, he was not himself for the entire rest of the year, basically. I mean, it took him about a year and a half to finally hit his stride again. So, I mean, he went on a year and a half long cold streak, and now he's facing another back injury. Now, this one might not keep him out of a race or 2, but between that and...
he was injured?
Huh?
He was injured yesterday?
I don't think he was taken to a hospital for further evaluation, but a shot like that to a back that's already been injured in his recent past.
Oh, I'm sure he's sore.
Certainly can't feel good.
He's sore.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Especially
being sore over the next few weeks when you're going to some high skill level road courses is not going to be easy. I mean, obviously, his most recent win is at the Chicago Street Course, but that was a year and a half off of his last really bad crash. So.
Right.
Now, with a fresh back injury and a load of road courses coming up, I think it is time for him to hit the panic button because Yeah,
I,
there are, especially because I think this cut line's gonna move. I think between McDowell, Allmendinger, SVG, I think you're going to see at least one new winner jump up above that cut line and
especially this upcoming week.
well, yeah, you've got Mexico, you've got Sonoma, and then you've got
Pocono.
July 4th with the Chicago Street Course. So
Yep.
3 road
So-
courses in the next 4 weeks, I think.
So going back
Uh,
to the point standings thing. So in the regular point standing, he is 13th, but if you look at the playoffs, he is 15th and only 13 points above the cut line.
That's not
Yep.
good.
Yeah, that is not good at all. But Jayme, what are your thoughts? Is it time to hit the panic button for Alex Bowman?
So one, I didn't get a chance to really watch the race. I was listening to it on the radio because I had to take a trip to get another stroller because our son decided to destroy the one that we had. But the broadcasting booth was talking about how Alex Bowman, like they knew going into this race that this was not going to be like their race. They were trying to have best case scenario average day, because when they pulled the car off the truck, it was not nowhere near where they wanted it to be. And they were talking that we're at a point now with Alex Bowman where we kind of put him in like the AJ Allmendinger conversation, where his best chances to make the playoffs are going to be at road courses.
Well, I mean, I think his
Because
best chances to get to the playoffs is going to be winning a race. I don't necessarily think it's going to be at the road courses because I think there's so many heavy road course favorites in the field these days. Now, he still can win the road races, obviously as point by Chicago, but I actually think his best shot to win some of these races is to really just
Dover
kind
or
of
Poe.
lean into the success that the rest of his teammates have had at some of the mile and a half and the short tracks.
There's
But at
two
the
of his
same
best tracks. Go ahead. Sorry.
But at the same time, like, yes, you may say some of his best tracks are at some of those things, but guess what? His teammates are a lot better than him at those tracks too.
Yeah, well, I mean, but if you look at his wins, I mean, I think wasn't literally Chicago his first road course win?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
he's if
And-
you look at the amount of mile and a half that he's won in his career,
Was when was NASCAR previously at that Chicago road course?
Last July.
First time, right?
Nope.
No, that was the
2023.
That was the second race.
23,
Yeah,
Second
23 SVG won, and then last year was Bowman.
But what I'm getting at is we've seen a progression of him continuously get better road courses.
Right.
And yes, I think Daniel Suarez is going to be the hometown favorite for the Mexico City race. But I'd probably put Alex Bowman in one of the favorite marks, just with recent history and how he is with street racing.
I was
So
going to add on.
if he has a strong
it's not
performance,
a street course, by the way, that's something I didn't know until today. Is that
Mexico
City
is
not actually a street course?
It's not a street course.
Well, it's still a road course, but that was actually going to be my next question was, does Bowman get a win and make the playoffs this year?
Can I go? I think yes, because two of his best tracks in the next gen era is Pocono and Dover, which are coming up. His average finish at Dover since the next gen is 6.5. And Pocono is I believe a little bit higher, a little bit lower. I think it's like either a 10.5 or an 11.5. If I'm not
I
mistaken.
can see him possibly being in the hunt there, assuming one of his teammates doesn't steal it.
That's what I was saying about his best tracks coming up. Those are his two best tracks statistically in the next gen era. With his win in 2021, so he has won at Pocono and Dover.
Yeah, I mean, granted, that Pocono win was almost as fluky as anything ever has been.
Because yeah.
Yeah.
Because Larson
still.
had, what, 5.5 second lead when he blew that tire in turn 3?
But still, look
No,
where
it was only
Bowman
about a
was. He was
second and a
going to
half.
finish second.
Oh, really? I thought it was a much bigger lead than that. It looked bigger in the stands because I was actually at Pocono that day.
Yeah, it was about a second and a half because the moment that Larson hit the wall, Bowman was right there passing him.
Yeah.
Well, Bowman was also really fast that day too, as well. If you think about it, he's actually, even though he's not winning Pocono, well, besides that 2021, he's still in the hunt. He's still up front.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing about him is that when he's healthy and gets in a groove, he can really rattle off top tens a lot in a row. The problem is that right now he's in kind of one of those situations where he's in a lull where he's doing the exact opposite. He's running very consistently, just consistently 28th on that.
Yeah.
So what's your answer, Ryan?
I think he will get a win before the playoffs, but I think it's probably gonna be. I think his best shot is gonna be on some of those ovals like Pocono or Dover, some of the ovals that he's had success at, versus the road courses. Just because I think there's gonna be so many of those guys who know that their only chance, like the only chance for SVG, is winning.
Although he's improved drastically though on ovals.
Huh?
His results coming in late, he's actually improved drastically on ovals.
Yeah, but he's not anywhere near the point of winning an oval.
Right. But yeah,
that's kind of my point, is that SVG is not making it to the playoffs this year without a
road course win.
What do you say, Greg?
Well, you guys know, obviously, I'm a Bowman fan, so I'm going to say yes. He will win a race. Where? I wouldn't be able to tell you because his wins just really seem to come out of nowhere. Like, I was not expecting him to win Chicago last year, and then he just freaking straight up drives by Joey Hand and takes off and ends up holding off Tylor Reddick to win the race. And so his wins are probably one of the most unpredictable drivers to pick for a win in the Cup Series right now, because they could just happen. They could happen out of nowhere.
Just like early day Kyle Busch when he was with Hendrick.
Yeah, but hopefully he will win a race, make the playoffs. If he doesn't, so be it. I'll still be a fan, until whatever happens after 2026 or 2027 with his contract. But that's a story for another time. We are going to go into our green flags and black flags segment.
I don't get to say anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jayme.
Man, you really didn't want my opinion on this, because even though I'm wearing a Hendrick Motorsports shirt, like, I'm looking at y'all like y'all belong in the loony bin.
I might, but that's besides the point.
Like, under what premise this year can you say that he's going to win a race? To this point.
Well, like I said, his wins can literally just come out of nowhere.
Well, you can't, man. You're about to make me pull a Stephen A. Like, you can't just throw out like a wild card based on statistical facts of this season as of right now. What makes you think Alex Bowman can win a race?
Well, like Ryan pointed out last year, he was still fresh off of his back injury and was having a subpar season, and then boom, he wins Chicago, and then just goes on this massive tear in the playoffs until he got disqualified at the Roval.
But was he ever at a point that he is in right now?
He was close to it.
I will say
he was close.
Crash probably hampers his chances to win a race. But he's also, I mean, any driver in a Hendrick car, it's hard to see a situation where they don't find victory lane at least one.
I think he will before the playoffs. It just
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
I certainly am. I'm not saying that I think I would be shocked if he doesn't get a win, but I'm not denying that there is definitely a scenario where he does find a win.
I do not see him getting a win this season. And the reason for that is he's been known to get in his own head. And
just like a young junior.
When it comes to right now, he cannot complete a race with a good finish. Whether he just gets caught in wrong place, wrong time because of poor strategy calls, or he has an okay day and then all of a sudden a bad caution comes out and he's stuck in the back or a lap down or has a tire issue or just doesn't have the performance.
So when he
that wears on.
What are we gonna do?
What's that?
So when he wins Mexico this weekend, what are we gonna do to clown you?
See, y'all could do anything because he ain't winning this week.
If he
I agree. I don't think it'll come this week, but I certainly would not rule it out. I mean, because it feels like we're a lot closer to the end of the regular season than it is. I think, especially because of the fact that we're rotating through these other broadcast channels rather than just okay, we've got Fox for the first half, and then after Fox is over, the second half of the season starts. We still have a lot of races to go before the playoffs. I mean,
I agree, but my point was there is this thing called momentum, and it can go both ways. From a mental standpoint, Alex Bowman's mentals inside that car is scrambled eggs.
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
there's still 11 races
agree,
before the playoffs. So
11 races, right?
Hmm?
You said 11 races?
Yeah, 11 races for him to
really?
And
get some momentum going. Because that's the thing, though. Is
Tyler's starting. I can see it. Tyler's starting to see my side. There's not enough time for him to get out of this rut and start putting together good performances to sneak out a win.
Now, I'm going to retract my statement a little bit. I mean, I see where you're coming from, Jayme. But, I mean, even if he does win a race, I mean, winning a race, do you really think it'll snap the fog he's in? Have a race and then go back to what he was.
Winning cures everything.
Yeah, winning does cure everything. And honestly, for him, I mean, if he can finish one of these races in the top 10 or top 5, let's say he goes out and runs top 10 at Mexico this week. Not a win, but a top 5, top 10 type run. I think that could be enough to snap him out of this funk he's in. Mm-hmm. And then, because that's the thing, last year he was running.
But we've already seen that.
When was the last time he had a top 10?
We've seen him get top 5s, and then he gets another 30 place finish.
If by some miracle Bowman wins this weekend, if by some miracle that Bowman wins this weekend, or if he wins a race in the next 11 races, which I am on the optimistic side that the summer of Bowman is about to fire off. Jayme, Jayme, I'm going to be the most unsufferable person in our group chat. I am going to be tagging you in everything that has to do with Bowman, and I'm going to clown the hell out of you until you respond.
So Bowman has a total of 1 top 5 since March. So I mean, it definitely is one. He has 1 top 10 at a non. When you take out the super speedway at Talladega, he has 1 draft. He has 1 top 10.
And take out All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend don't count.
Yeah, I'm not counting All-Star Weekend. He got a 5th place finish at Kansas. Is the one race I'm looking at for it.
What about Homestead? What about Homestead? He finished 2nd there.
Yeah, that was March. That happened all the way back in March. But
okay.
If you look at the runs up to that 2nd place finish, though, 9th at Circuit of the Americas, 7th at Phoenix, 7th at Vegas, and then 2nd at Homestead. So, again, if he can get one of those top 10s out the way and potentially then start to build up some momentum going in the other direction. Because, right now he's got momentum going in the wrong direction, but momentum.
How many races do we have till Dover?
3.
We have till Dover.
3.
Give me a second.
Because
We
it's
got
right
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races away is Dover.
I am making a bet with you, Greg.
Okay.
If Alex Bowman manages to win a single race between now and Dover, I will buy you an Alex Bowman shirt.
Hashtag not sponsored by any gambling because it's still screwed up in Delaware.
And in Maine.
Now, what do I get if he doesn't?
I want to see Greg wear
No,
Denny Hamlin.
this is a me and Greg thing.
Let's see. Who's your favorite driver?
Chase Elliott, Team Hendrick.
Okay.
Attaboy.
Well, I'm not so much of a Chase Elliott fan as I used to be, so I will buy a Chase Elliott shirt and wear it on a podcast. Or no, I'll wear it to no. Better yet, I will wear it to a race.
All right, Ryan. Now it's my turn.
And I will provide pictures for proof.
Okay, so we'll do the flip side on my end then. Instead of buying you a shirt, if he manages to win a race before Dover, I will spend my own money, buy myself a Bowman shirt, and I will wear it when I go to Daytona in August.
All right.
Now, Ryan.
Can I make the suggestion that that Bowman shirt should be the hack shirt?
You have to buy the hack shirt. You have to.
Yes.
I will put y'all on FaceTime when I get to the truck if that happens. But I don't think it will, so I think we're going to have to get on FaceTime with Greg. So I'm good.
Okay. All right, Ryan. Now it's my turn since I have a bet.
Well,
let's go.
All right. Well, what bet are we making?
It's going to be the same bet, but we're different drivers.
Okay.
So I thought we were going to put Kevin on the table.
So who we betting on? Which driver?
We are going to be betting. I think. Ooh, that's a good one. I think how about Bubba Wallace winning before the playoffs?
Winning before the playoffs for Bubba Wallace. I'm not sure he does win before the playoffs.
I mean, the only one I can see him having a definite shot is Daytona.
Yeah, I mean Daytona's a definite shot.
But
we don't really outside of. I mean, we really don't have another traditional oval traditional like mile and a half type oval. Mile and a half to 2 mile tracks have seemed to be Bubba's strong suit. Michigan, some of the 1.5 milers, but we really don't have a standard one. We have Dover's the closest thing we have to a mile and a half. Then we got Iowa and Richmond are the other normal ovals.
So if he wins, I want to see you wear. I want to see you wear a. I want to see you wear a Bubba shirt.
Okay.
And if he loses, at Watkins Glen, I will buy a Bubba shirt and a Bubba hat and get an autograph from him and take a picture with him at Watkins.
The hard part about that bet, though, is that you would have to buy it at Watkins Glen. So we're thinking he doesn't win before the Glen, which means you don't get your Daytona shot.
No, this is if he doesn't win, I have to.
Yeah, but that's my point, is that Daytona doesn't come up until after Watkins Glen, so you would have already...
No. Right.
Unless you're talking about Watkins Glen a year from now.
Either way, we'll see. I'll still buy it. I will still buy it regardless.
Yep.
And I will FaceTime you guys from Watkins Glen up in my stand wearing all the stuff, and I will cheer for Bubba that weekend.
All right. So basically, whether he wins or doesn't, one of us. So Bubba's getting a shirt sale out of this, regardless.
So is Alex Bowman.
No,
or Chase Elliott.
Greg said he'd buy Chase Elliott shirt if he doesn't get it. So
come on, Greg. Chase Elliott's not too bad. I will literally wear my Chase Elliott stuff with you.
Oh well, looks like we got some bets going on here on the podcast. There's a first for everything.
Yep.
But we are going to go into our green flags and black flags segment. And for our new listeners, green flags is something about the race weekend that you liked, and black flags is something that you did not like. And we will kick it off with Tylor.
Ooh, my green flag honestly was honestly the solid racing from this weekend with the Cup Series. It was really good racing. really, but unfortunately, my black flag, I kind of have to give that one to Alex, just Alex Bowman's luck. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Alex Bowman.
All right. What about you, Jayme?
So my green flag is such a silly green flag, but I can't call myself an Ohio State fan and not make it my green flag. Seeing Denny Hamlin do the OHIO at Michigan is just fantastic.
Yep, that was funny.
I loved every second of it. I was cracking up.
That was
And
good.
the announcers were cracking up when he did it as well. And it was just a great time. My black flag though is who was it that ended up getting a penalty and had to go a lap down in the first stage?
Um,
I'm blanking on his name for whatever reason.
I know Larson ended up let
Suarez.
down for
Daniel Suarez.
Suarez. Okay,
And it's not even like a negative black flag towards him.
bounced back to a 15th, 14th place finish.
Yeah, my thing is I feel like the pressure of all that is coming with this upcoming weekend
Yep.
has really impacted him. And so maybe I should shift my black flag to, I guess, like NASCAR media. I'm going to put it that way. NASCAR media towards Daniel Suarez, because he has been going on for the past 2-3 weeks at the minimum of being asked by NASCAR to go hype up this race. And
Probably mentally draining on him.
yeah, I mean, we look at Kyle Larson; he's still not himself from doing the double. He's getting better, but he's not himself yet.
Yeah.
And the toll that it takes on a driver, you think when he's getting ready to lock in for a race and leading up to that race, every single media person coming up to him is wanting to get a comment about Mexico and the race and how excited he's going to be, or how cool is it going to be? How momentous is it going to be? Do you feel any pressure with the hometown? Blah, 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 blah. The dude can't go 5 minutes without someone bringing up that race.
Like, seriously, it's
Like,
crazy.
how are you supposed to lock in and try to put your best foot forward for you and your team when all the media is doing is just making you think about something else that's not relevant for that day?
Yeah, honestly, you should switch your black flag to the just media in general for that, for all athletes.
I mean, I could, but I'm keeping it solely towards him with NASCAR media.
What about you, Ryan?
Ryan, what are yours?
All right. Well, for my green flag, I'm going to give it to specifically the ARCA race finish, because that finish was amazing down the stretch with Brendan Queen being able to win it on the final restart late in the race after trying to remember who took over that middle segment that they had. Because Brendan Queen led the first and the third stage, or I say
Gio
stage,
Ruggiero.
yeah, Gio Ruggiero jumping up in the middle of the race, leading a decent chunk of it, but then Brendan Queen able to just win it on that final restart when it mattered, and ended up taking the victory in a really great run. And honestly, the Cup Series finish was also amazing. With the and that's going to kind of tie into my black flag, but my green flag definitely on the excitement weekend. But wanted to give a specific shout out to the ARCA series, because I feel like we don't talk about them much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then my black flag, I'm going to give it to the Michigan curse, as there has still never been a Michigan-born driver to win at Michigan for the Michigan Cup Series race. And that trend continued ever so closely as Carson Hocevar had a flat tire with 18 laps to go in the race.
He was fast all weekend too, which sucks.
Yeah,
Yep.
and again, for it to be a fluky flat tire, like I know he was probably short on fuel regardless, so it might not end up helping. But the fact that the flat tire deflated that balloon with about 15 laps to get, a little over 15 laps to go, definitely did not help. So
Yep.
feel bad for him. Feel really bad for Byron to get that close and run out of gas, but it's even
Yeah.
worse when it's something you don't expect to happen.
So
So,
I have a couple of green flags. One of them goes to the AMR safety crew. They were
yeah,
there at Alex Bowman's car almost before the car even stopped moving.
yep,
They were very, very quick to respond, and also to NASCAR for throwing the red flag immediately
Really? Oh
when
yeah,
that crash
I was
happened.
impressed with that.
yeah. So I think
Um,
we were all scared about that one.
yes. And my other green flag goes to the fans. I saw pictures on Twitter. The stands were pretty packed for that
Yeah,
race
it was.
Michigan, right?
yesterday.
Yeah, it was
Um,
sunny too, which also helped.
Yeah, good
yes.
weather definitely helps on race day.
Yep. Finally. Um, my black flag goes to Chase Briscoe. How are you going to start on the pole 3 races in a row and finish outside the top 20 in 2 of those races? Like, if you're that fast in qualifying, you should be able to put a race together. I kind of feel like right now Chase Briscoe is the odd man out at Joe Gibbs Racing.
I still think Gibbs is the odd man out, but that's just me though. Um,
Anyone can put together a fast lap for 1 lap or two.
right.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's another to not burn up the tires and be able to find speed without going full throttle.
yep,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I
And it
get
has to
that.
be, and it has to be terrifying going that fast around that big of a track.
Yeah, they were hitting 202 in the corners during qualifying.
Just imagine if they add like 100 more horsepower to the tracks like that.
Kyle Busch even mentioned he caught wind before his qualifying run that everybody was just going full throttle the entire time, and he said he was like, I was nervous. He's like, I had no choice but to go full throttle, and if it stuck, it stuck. If it didn't, then we were going to a backup car.
Yeah,
yep. And ultimately, he was able to have a pretty good day too.
Yeah, got some really good
Point.
field position to start him up, and that's probably the difference in this race compared to other races for Kyle Busch. He actually had good starting position. He didn't have to fight through all the gunk of the field and try to get through all that dirty air
Right.
just to get himself into a spot where he could possibly make something happen.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
yep. I honestly thought yesterday was the day that Kyle Busch might be able to finally get one, and I don't know if you guys listen to Door Bumper Clear, but all of the Kyle Busch fans are not getting any from their significant others until Kyle Busch wins. So I thought maybe yesterday was the day that all the Kyle Busch fans would get a little something something in the bedroom last night, but it wasn't meant to be yet again.
No,
But
nobody's getting lucky in Rowdy Nation.
Nope.
nope. But as we have talked about, they are racing at Mexico this weekend, which
Other
is the first time that NASCAR has run there since 2008 in the
and that was
Xfinity
a good
Series. Um,
And they've never raced there in the Cup, right?
yeah, Cup Series has never run there, so none of these drivers have ever seen this track, with the exception of maybe Daniel Suarez or SVG.
Denny Hamlin's raced there before, and
Okay.
same with Kyle
Yeah,
Busch.
some
Oh
of them
yeah,
have
Kyle
probably run
Busch.
the Xfinity races back then.
Yeah. But all of these newer, younger drivers have never raced there, so I honestly think it's going
Circuit
to
de
be
Hermano Rodriguez.
a good race. But we are going to make our picks, and I can already tell which picks are probably going to be coming. But I do have our names on the wheel, and I will make the first spin. And the first spin will land on, I swear to God, it's not rigged. It landed on me.
All right, who's Greg taking with the first overall pick? I think there's about 2 or 3 good options here for the first overall pick.
Man, it's so hard to pick because there's so many good road course ringers in this race. But I'm gonna have to go with the obvious choice. I am taking SVG.
Damn it.
And now everybody has to readjust their papers for who they're picking.
Next pick.
I think I know.
Next pick goes to Jayme.
Fuck.
I have a pick ready. Hopefully it won't get sniped.
I have one in mind too.
Yeah.
Jamie's just, is that what I smell? Those gears turning over there?
Yeah, I see the smoke come out of his ears.
I'm gonna go Denny Hamlin.
Oh.
All right.
Ooh.
2 in a row streak.
All right. That was not a pick that I saw on the table tonight. Third pick goes to Mr. Ryan Dyer.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take someone who's running the double duty this weekend, and I will go ahead and take the very obvious local favorite. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking Christopher Bell.
Oh, wow.
I thought you were going...
I had Daniel Suarez typed out next to your name, too.
I actually thought you were going to go with Daniel Suarez. No, he's doing triple duty.
Bell's running the Xfinity Series race for... he's running the 24 car in Xfinity, so I'm going to take him for the Cup Series in the number 20
and
car.
Funny enough, Suarez is doing triple duty because he's running the NASCAR Mexico, Xfinity, and Cup.
Yeah, but safe to say I did a pretty good job baiting people there.
Okay.
And final pick goes to Tylor.
I am going to take AJ Allmendinger.
Oh.
Yeah, AJ is a really good choice.
I was thinking that, or I was thinking of going McDowell.
Normal favorite, so I was like, "Yep, just go with a safe pick."
The fact that none of us went with a Hendrick driver is wild.
Yeah, the fact that Larson's still on the board after 4 people.
The thing is Larson going to return to form though? That's where I was levying.
Yeah, when will he snap out of it? Because I think we all know that Larson will snap out. Elliott, it's a matter of when.
So I'm surprised none of us took Suarez or Tyler Reddick.
I was thinking about it, but I'm like, nah. I think it's safer to pick like AJ Allmendinger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was tempted to go with McDowell, but I was like, I don't want to curse him.
He was up there for me too.
Yep. Yeah. But as always, me and Ryan will get the rest of the picks later on this week. Before we close the show out, it is time for Jayme's trivia. And as always, yep, I've been covering trivia for the last couple of weeks in place of Jayme. But Jayme is back with us tonight. Obviously, it's been a long time since NASCAR has raced at Mexico. And for our new listeners, what happens with Jayme's trivia is he will ask a trivia question about the track or drivers participating in the upcoming races. And if one of us gets the question correct, we get a bonus point for our race picks total. But if we all get it wrong, Jayme gets the bonus point. So Jayme, please fire away with your trivia question for us tonight. You are muted. Jayme, you are muted, sir.
I was giving you big kudos. So what I was saying was, before I get to my trivia question, even though I haven't been on as of late, I have been listening, and you've been doing your thing, keeping people on their toes and finding some good trivia questions, keeping our
Those were
brains
some pretty good,
pumping.
yeah.
So I just want to say thank you for that. And but let's get into it. So obviously, it's been a long time since NASCAR has been out in the Mexico border, and when it came to the inaugural race back in 2005, what two current NASCAR drivers participated in that race? Once again, no Googling, no
Oh, I already
looking
know
on
the
your
answer.
phone or anything like that.
I already
So
know the
the
answer.
inaugural race, which year?
2005.
Okay, so 2005.
And they are currently still in NASCAR in the Cup
Yep.
Series.
I already know the answer.
Yeah, man.
Well, since Tyler says he knows the answer, we'll go Greg first, then we'll go Ryan.
I'm
Then we'll go Tyler.
gonna go Hamlin and Kyle Busch.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'll take, because Kyle Busch didn't run Xfinity. He ran trucks and then went straight to Cup, and I don't think he did any Xfinity series until like 2006, 2007 when he was getting ready for that transfer. So I think Greg was probably right on one of them. I will go ahead and say, I'm really not confident on this one, but let's go ahead with, oh man, I'm trying to think because there aren't many drivers in Cup still that are around from that 2005 era. Like obviously you've got Kyle Busch, Hamlin that were both around in that time frame, but I'm not picking the exact same thing as Greg. If Greg just got it wrong, other drivers are from that era. Are we including part-time drivers or are they full-time drivers?
They just participate in that race.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
currently full time.
Because he said they still race.
Oh, yeah, they're currently full-time this year.
Okay, I was going to say, because if Jimmy Johnson falls into that category, that would be really wild. Because he is still technically an active Cup driver, but not full-time. So that was just, I wanted to make sure we had that qualification out the way. So, yeah, it's really tough. I mean,
if you're stumped, say you're stumped.
I'm just trying to think of even just the list of Cup drivers that... I mean, yeah, I think I'm just stumped.
Tyler? Your face kind of changed a little bit when Greg got it wrong.
Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch.
Wrong.
Damn it. I knew. Oh, I think I know. I think it might. Okay, go ahead. What's the answer?
No, who do you think it was? Because it's not going to count anyways.
I definitely know for a fact it was for sure Kyle Busch because he was in really.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
It was not Kyle Busch.
He didn't run Xfinity back then.
So it's Denny and Brad.
Nope.
Really?
So in 2005, the only two current Cup Series drivers who participated then that are still in NASCAR now is Denny Hamlin. Shocker, shocker. Everyone had Denny Hamlin.
Yep.
And Eric Jones.
Eric Jones in 05?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was a toddler.
Wait, how old?
He ran the number 73 Chevy.
In the Xfinity Series.
In the Xfinity Series.
He was like 5 years old.
To be fair, he started dead last.
He would have been... No, in 2005 he would have been 17. So that makes sense.
Okay. I guess he's older than I thought. I mean, I knew he wasn't actually like 20 years old, but still.
I knew it was Denny Hamlin because he was running with. I think he ran a 20 car back then in 2005 and 2004 and 2005.
Yep.
Wow.
And the reason I said Brad Keselowski because he was in the Busch series for a while.
Yeah, I didn't even think. I was like, I legitimately didn't. I was like, okay, Brad and Joey are too recent, and certainly didn't have Eric Jones on there. So
actually, this is not going to be our trivia question. This is not going to be for any points. Who won the last nationwide Xfinity / nationwide series race at Mexico? And it was 2008.
Patrick Cartier or whatever his name is.
No, it was Kyle Busch.
Yep, that was Kyle Busch.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. So Jayme won that. He gets the bonus point, but I have a bonus trivia question.
Oh,
okay. What do you got?
All right. So, as we just mentioned, Kyle Busch won the last race in Mexico for the Xfinity Series. But who started on the pole in that race?
Ooh.
2005 good Xfinity Series driver.
I have a good idea. I just don't think it's right, though.
I'll let
I have
Tyler
a
go
good-
first. I have very little clue.
Which race are we talking?
The 2008
the
Yamamoto
2008
Who
200.
started on pole for the race you were looking up? Jayme might just know the answer because he was looking up that race.
I think it was Jack Villeneuve.
You are wrong. Jayme?
I was looking at this because I was looking at all those races.
I say, was it something simple like Jeff Gordon running double duty?
No,
Okay.
No.
It was probably a regular, I
because
think.
double duty was really only a couple of drivers back then. It wasn't like 90% of the field.
I guarantee I think I know who it is now. Now thinking about
I think
it.
his name was Colin Braun or something along that line.
Jayme, you are correct.
Oh, wow, I forgot about
maybe
Colin Braun.
literally was looking up that specific race for his trivia question.
I was thinking.
That was actually going to be one of my. I had like 3 different questions I was going to ask, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Just because
Colin Brown for what was Roush Fenway Racing, now RFK Racing, started on the pole but was credited with a 33rd place finish in that race.
Yeah.
I was thinking of something like basic, like Carl Edward or something like that.
So Jayme gets
best
2 bonus points.
Xfinity Series starts till a year later.
Out of the races, out of 3 races ran, who has the best average finish?
Wait, what?
Danica Patrick.
That would have been Kyle Busch. Because he won 2 out of the 3.
Believe it or not, it was Martin Truex Jr.
Wait, 2 out of the 3 what?
Kyle Busch won. Yeah, he is right. But Kyle Busch did win 2007 and 2008.
All right.
All right. Well, Jayme gets
Thank you to our sponsor tonight.
Jayme gets 2 bonus points for tonight. But as always,
with the way this year's going, I need those bonus points.
I need to catch Ryan, so I need to start getting bonus points.
Extend his lead.
I need to catch you, Ryan.
As always, a big thank you to all of our sponsors, Sleeves, Century PC, Dr. Squatch, Bulletproof Coffee. There's another one that I want to say, but I cannot say it due to obligations because we have a new sponsor that we just picked up today. Circle B Diecasts is now a sponsor of the Lap Down. We will have a promo code for you guys next week. I have been emailing back and forth with one of the guys on the sales team, and he will provide us with a promo code so you can get some money off your next diecast order. But yes, we are glad to have Circle B Diecast on as a sponsor. I use them quite a bit. They're a good company. Please use our promo code when we put it out there. Also, please be sure to check out our other podcasts, Dirt and Turf for baseball, Biscuits and Penalties for hockey, which just finished up for the season, the Hard Count football coming up this season, Passing the Pigskin, the Social Slam for wrestling. Also, don't forget that Ryan and myself will be doing a double live reaction for the race at Atlanta coming up later on this season, or later this month on YouTube. Please be sure to check out Ryan's YouTube page at Ryan Dyer. And someone who is not with us tonight, JP, please be sure to check out Full Throttle on YouTube as well. And JP had his YouTube channel on Brayton Laster's car at the ARCA race at Michigan earlier this weekend. So congrats to JP on getting some advertisement for his channel. But until next time,
Also,
please go
one
ahead.
more thing. Also, we have new social media. We have check our social medias down in the description. We also have a new Patreon. Go ahead and check us out. Give us some support. Give us some love.
Yes, we are trying to grow ourselves and get ourselves out there a little bit more. But until next time, I am Greg, and for Tylor, Jayme, and Ryan, this has been the Lap Down, and we will see you guys after the inaugural race in Mexico.
Deuces.
Deuces.